Hi, welcome. Happy to have another episode of Westport Road Live and to have Gwen back with us. Um, Gwen's been on a couple of times and shared poems. This is not so much a poem as it is a piece of prose that she's written in response to the events that are going on in the community around us. We've heard from different ones. We talked to Sam recently and talked to Bill and his sons recently, and so I was eager to hear what Gwen had to say, what her perspective is on things. She's always got a unique perspective and very thoughtful, and so I'm glad that Gwen is here to share this. I read this, she sent it to me earlier this week. I think it's like my favorite thing that she's written. That may not be accurate, but it's my favorite, so I think it's great. Gwen?
Thank you, Ernest, and I want to thank you for giving me an opportunity to come and share my writings again with my church family, and just also thank you for being so open-minded and so willing to hear different perspectives. I think sometimes that's the hardest thing to do, and you're always an encourager, so
Well,
I
I'm
appreciate
learning.
you so much.
Thank you.
Just want you to know, and I speak on behalf of several people that you may not get to hear them say that in person, so thank you for who you are.
Thanks.
Appreciate that. Well, with all that was going on, one day I'd have a heavy heart, and the other day I would be confused. The next day I would be angry, and whenever I'm feeling so many different types of emotions, I do what some people do. I put pen to paper, and in doing that, I just allow my emotions to just come full circle. And I finished a piece and I've rewritten it several times, and I wanted to share it with Ernest just to get some feedback from him. And he asked that I come and share it with you, so that's what I'm going to do today. I just pray that we all have an open mind to what you're about to hear. It's entitled The Ostrich and the Bull. Human beings were created by God in his own image. God decided that man would have dominion over all the animals of the sea and air, and every living thing that moved upon the earth that God had created. The ostrich and the bull, uniquely different, with an uncanny comparison in the dichotomy of the myths and stereotypes when it comes to their innate survival skills, and when we deal with reality avoidance and raging aggression. The ostrich, a large flightless bird with a long bare neck and small head, has a huge body and long muscular legs, known to be a strong runner and a fast runner. Contrary to popular belief, ostriches do not bury their heads in the sand. When an ostrich senses danger, they run away. They would like to run away, but they can't. So what they do, they simply flop their head on the ground and remain silent and very still. You know, its head and neck, lightly colored as it lays flush to the ground, blends in with the color of the soil, giving the appearance of sticking its head in the sand. The bull, a muscular male herd animal with thick bones and a muscular neck, has a large bony head and also has an unusual protective ridge over its eyes. Most people don't know that an adult bull can at times be a dangerous animal. Its temperament changes as it matures from a playful aggression as a yearling to a defensive territorial aggression. Bulls are color blind to red, debunking another belief that a bull naturally attacks anything red. The animal is actually attacking the sharp, quick movements, not the object's color. The ostrich and the bull have been environmentally conditioned over the years. While each have developed specific behaviors in order to maintain survival, both also have been stigmatized with mythical terms such as ostrich syndrome and bullseyes, which are inaccurately depicted in their nature. To you, sisters and brothers in Christ, who feel helplessly stuck in a time warp not of your own making, and not sure what to do or say when you encounter historical injustice to others, I would encourage you not to freeze up, not to remain silent, and not to pretend you can't be seen. Ignoring such issues or offering up responses as, I wasn't alive back then, or I shouldn't be held accountable for what happened years ago, resembles to some people the ostrich syndrome. So remember, none of your sisters and brothers in Christ alive today were alive back then. To you, sisters and brothers in Christ, who have been conditioned for years to live and participate in a society that engages in an unfair economic and political system that can too easily lead to the fatality of a life, make sure that you avoid being lured into attacking anything and everything that moves your way. Stop charging without an end to a means. And remember that there are some individuals that are blinded to the truth and they only see a bullseye on your back. The probability of winning an unfair and unjust fight is slim to none. Therefore, we must seek God first and use our spiritual gifts to enact real change. How much more effective could we be if only our rage and our aggressions were redirected to a more focused target, resulting in freedom from historical, emotional, and psychological bondage imposed over 400 years ago, but yet, we're still allowing it to consume us today. Our fight is not with each other, but against evil in this world. We all must stop running and turning a blind eye to all forms of injustice. We all must do what's right in God's sight, regardless if it's not politically correct. We all must prayerfully refuse to allow either myth to become our reality. It's more than a stigmatism of the ostrich syndrome and the bull's eye that creates a lie-low shelter and circular confusing strategy when we invest too much of our energy, effort, and time turning our attention to the acquisitions of things, when we should be striving to be decision makers in all things that matter. The goal is to use wisdom and discernment to achieve a seat at the table where inequity is discussed, decisions are made, and changes can be created to benefit each person regardless of their gender, race, nationality, and the character of our hearts supersedes the color of our skin. We must remember who we are and whose we are, sisters and brothers in Christ, made in the image of God. Let's refuse to adapt animalistic behaviors as we are made higher than them. God created us with a mental capacity to make our own decisions. Choose wisely. The best way for evil and wrongdoers to flourish is when good Christians, do nothing, stand for anything, and remain silent on the wrong things. We all have a responsibility. We are all called to act like Christ. Whether it is to lift up our voice in prayer, preach the word, preaching always as Ernest does, sing a song, speak up and speak out, walk a mile, or even write a poem. Please join me, my sisters and brothers in Christ, as we run the right race for racial and social justice. See through the hidden agendas of all injustice. Speak up and refuse to remain an indefensible victim. Disallow soundless silence to become a foothold for evil doings. Apply afterthought, aggression to energize and enact equality for all. You know, in Luke 10:27, Jesus answered, "Love the Lord your God with all your heart, with all your soul, and with all your strength, and with all your mind, and love your neighbor as yourself." Who is your neighbor? We all are. I hope you enjoyed this rendition of the ostrich and the bull. Thank you.
Thank you, Gwen. I think that's good stuff. And I do think we tend to polarize to one of those two
Yes.
extremes. And I love how you call us back to our identity in Christ.
Right.
That's who we are. And when that comes out of us, then we're going to love our neighbor as
Amen.
ourselves. It's good
Amen.
stuff. Thank you so much for
Thank
coming
you.
with us.
My
God bless
pleasure.
you.
Mm-hmm.